adventures in movies, like we always have themes. Like Blake mentioned, we talked about isolation and paranoia. We've what have we all talked about? Erotic horror, and we've had special editions, and we've talked about true crime and things like that. And in a roundabout way, we do suggest movies here and there, but we've never outright suggested things. Well, we've never spent a whole show outright suggesting movies. So we wanted to do something a little different this week. So we are going to run down some suggestions that we had, but we wanted to be really specific. So we had some suggestions specifically with Black creators, Black filmmakers, Black actors and celebrities. And Blake, since you're our horror dude, there's a rich history of Black filmmakers and actors in horror. And so I figured you'd be a good person to kick it off as to like what are some of the standouts.
Well, okay, so I would definitely say right out the gate you have to mention Night of the Living Dead. Night of the Living Dead is kind of a transformative movie on a lot of levels. Not only does it kind of invent a genre, it does something that was very unique for the time, and that is give you a Black lead, as in Ben. Ben is kind of your hero. Dwayne Jones, who was largely unknown, and and the movie does such a great job. Now I'm thinking about it, it's like holy shit. The whole premise is he kind of saves a bunch of white people trapped in a house. He is a what you would consider just a true hero through the entire thing, only to be gunned down by the fucking police. And you don't know if it's because he's a Black guy or because they thought he was a zombie, right? So
it's a super powerful ending. Super powerful.
And this was 1966, 68, right in there.
60, yeah, it was
68. So 60s, yeah. Boy, so that you're talking like prime time civil rights movement. And so yeah, I mean, if you're gonna start anywhere, I guess, and props to George Romero for doing that. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys you can talk about. Tony Todd, Candyman.
I thought for sure that would be your first mention because you do have your awesome Tony Todd story.
My man. I shook his hand going to take a piss. It was the coolest moment ever. It was awesome. Tony Todd's great. I love Tony Todd. But yeah, Jordan Peele obviously is doing great things in the genre. But yeah, I mean, obviously, I think, I just 100% think Dwayne Jones and Night of the Living Dead and George Romero needs mention.
I think that, what's funny, like George Romero, there's obvious social commentary in Night of the Living Dead. And it's clear that George Romero very much had a vision in all because it wasn't just a one-off that he was making comment. He was commenting in all his movies. You can find some sort of social commentary. Night of the Living Dead, it's really funny though, because I think you mentioned on a previous episode that you've seen that movie more times probably than any other movie you've seen in your life.
Yeah. Truly.
And it got me to thinking that when I was growing up, we didn't always have cable, and that movie, Night of the Living Dead, was always like on Channel 14 or ABC, or it was on some channel on Sunday mornings, like every single Sunday. And we would watch it every single time. And I remember thinking like, yeah, it was so weird that, it seemed like it was a horror movie, and it was scary, but it wasn't like a traditional kind of scary movie. And then the ending, it's so like, I remember being totally confused by the ending. Like you said, like, you don't know why he was shot and you're kind of pissed. You're like, why would they do that?
Totally pissed off. Like he just made it.
It was like a little exactly. You think like, cool, they've done it. They survived. He did it. Like it was rough, and some people didn't trust him or whatever. They didn't listen to him, but he made it through. And then he gets shot, and then you get the stock footage of burning bodies and all that stuff.
Yep.
Really, really. Have you guys seen that documentary on Shudder, Horror Noir?
No, I haven't.
That's pretty good. It's a history of horror in Black cinema. Part of I think that was either last February it was last February that it debuted. But I think this is, unless you were joking around, Blake. But this month on Shudder, they're releasing the Blackula movies.
No, they 100% are.
Yeah, they absolutely are releasing this. So those are really good movies too. But Horror Noir is really. They're funny, and I guess that kind of leads to a question I have. So the name Blackula, it sounds insulting, and I know we've had this talk before about a genre, a pretty controversial genre that I really don't understand the controversy behind. Well, I kind of do, but I don't think it's not. I don't think people's minds are in the right place on it. But blaxploitation, I think it's a very important genre, and I think it's a very good genre. I know we've talked about blaxploitation before, but I know that I think Danny, you're not a fan of those types of films, but I think since we last talked about it, Eddie Murphy's his name is Dolomite has come out since then.
Yeah,
Oh,
and see, and I think, and I'm sorry to interrupt you. I guess because on the Mexican side of it, we have something similar, and it's kind of like they echo each other. But with the My Name is Dolomite, what I like what it did is like it showed, or what I guess the whole purpose was is to show empowerment. I guess I guess a lot of people didn't see that or don't see that there's a lot of empowerment for the main characters, especially the African American community, and that's something that I guess a lot of voices now recently have been trying to be echoed instead of being like convicts or whatever. You have a kung fu fucking fighting guy. It's fucking badass. Like, why don't you want to be a kung fu fighting guy? A badass at that, a pimp
right.
at that. And it's all of this shit. Like, everybody hates him and everybody wants to be him, and it's great. I think that whole story, that whole My Name is Dolomite, is a great story, and I think it does explain, I guess, black exploitation in a good way. And you do see the little bit like the bits and pieces where people don't agree with it.
Yeah, the thing about black exploitation that makes it different. So stuff like nunsploitation and Nazi exploitation and like grindhouse stuff, that's just someone getting their rocks off. But black exploitation, that's actually, like you said, that's a place where black actors were able to star in movies, and they could be legitimate heroes and not just be the drug dealers or though sometimes they were those things, but they were still played in heroic. But like Shaft, he's a straight up cop,
Right,
like
yeah.
things like that. But Eddie Murphy, without a doubt, to me, growing up, he was like the funniest comedian in the world. I thought. Now I've kind of changed on that since then. But who do you guys think are the funniest black comedians?
I fucking love Eddie Murphy, fucking Beverly Hills Cop and all that shit, dude. I fucking love all that stuff so much. But I would have to say, Richard Pryor is like the obvious, like the pick, I
Right.
guess. But like
Mhm.
before him, Red Fox. Red
The
Fox.
wash your ass.
Wash your ass.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've ever seen his stand-up, it's some of the raunchiest, dirtiest, most hilarious stuff you've ever seen in your life. And he did a great transition. And he had a TV show for like 5 or 6 years, right in the '70s, Sanford and Son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a truly hilarious show. It is
is.
on TV Land and all that kind of shit. You can catch it. But yeah, Red Fox. I mean, there's so many. Chris Rock. I mean, there you could just go down the list. But like, yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go back a ways, yeah, I would definitely check out some Red Fox.
It's so you mentioned so Eddie Murphy, yeah, like there was a time in the mid to late 80s where like when Raw came out, and this isn't like now they have all kinds of Netflix stand-up specials and HBO stand-up specials,
Oh yeah.
but Raw was theatrically released, and it's just an hour and a half of Eddie Murphy doing stand-up. And then yeah, there was like Beverly Hills Cop and all that guy. I mean, he was without a doubt the funniest dude in the world.
Biggest
And
star in the world.
Yeah, biggest stars in the world. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah, he was on SNL. Like, he was everywhere. He was like the biggest
he was
name.
something, and
Kill
he
my
was
landlord. Come
him
on,
and his
kill my landlord.
in his tight leather pants. And then you mentioned Chris Rock. I think Chris Rock, who was obviously inspired by Eddie Murphy, I think he's actually taken that mantle over. I think he's incredibly funny. The difference between the two is that I think Chris Rock is his humor is a little more politically based and it's a little more worldly. I think it's super intelligent, and I think he's really witty. But movie wise, I don't think he gets enough acclaim. Like I think his remake of Death at a Funeral is actually better than the
Really?
original
Never
one.
seen it. I've never
It's
seen
really
it.
good. I
Is
really
it?
It's
recommend it. It's
and the
excellent.
original one is damn near perfect.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Chris Rock does an amazing job with the remake. It's
Hyper
it's so
talented
good.
dude, super smart. And
Yeah.
CB4.
Yeah.
Fucking
We've
sorry,
talked about,
guys.
yeah.
I love CB4.
And if you go with CB4, I mean, you got to go with Fear of a Black Cat, which came out around the same song,
Yeah, that's true.
which has the awesome album title, Pussy, which is hilarious. Lots of funny movies. Now, this is the one that you guys were kind of educating me on, but the only black action hero off the top of my head that I was able to think of, and it's because of the greatest handshake ever, is Carl Weathers. But as you guys correct me on, there's so many more than Carl Weathers.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, right. There is. I mean, The Rock. I mean, right. You got
Yeah,
to.
yes,
The Rock
yes.
is incredible action. I mean, if you're gonna list action heroes, like actors, he's top three, like all time, right? Like,
He is, and I guess you guys had mentioned Samuel L. Jackson.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like
Not
so
a
to
dick, it's a
me,
duck.
I feel like Samuel L. Jackson has taken. He's been on in almost any kind of movie. It makes it so. It works for him so well. Obviously, he was in like Die Hard, like and he's Shaft. Like
Mhm.
he takes that
Nick
empowerment as
Fury,
well.
man, he's fucking
He's
Nick
fucking
Fury.
Nick Fury. The
He is
comic books took fucking Samuel L. Jackson and said that
You
motherfucker,
know what?
that
That
guy's
was a
gonna be
fucking
great.
upgrade by like a fucking country mile. That was a
So
fucking smart
absolutely.
so
move.
way fucking better. So way fucking better. And I really do like that. Like I mean, there's so many things. Like I think Some of All Fears with fucking Ben Affleck too. Like it's a fucking Tom Clancy film. He's just right at that too. I feel like Samuel Jackson, L. Jackson could play like any kind of fucking action star lead, and I don't think many people like see him as that, but he's almost born for it.
I really like Michael B. Jordan.
Yes.
That's true. He's very much a
He,
modern one. Yeah.
yeah, I would say he's like one of the guys that's kind of taking the action role and doing a lot of good stuff with it. I loved him in Black Panther. I wish they'd given him a little bit more, I guess, but he was great in that.
Well, you also had Chadwick Boseman that is starting out.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
that's true.
that whole cast was like really, really great. With obviously Chadwick Boseman has started like with like being James Brown, and he's starting to be in another like political like action films. Like I know like Michael B. Jordan did the same thing, but these guys I feel like they have a really good chemistry, and especially in Black Panther, where
Mhm.
there's this hate. Like obviously with Michael B. Jordan's hatred, I just feel like that was like so good. Like you want that.
In his day, Will Smith, I think, deserves his due too. He definitely had his day.
He did. I mean, the Men in Black franchise was a huge
Yeah, it
franchise,
was fun. It was
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
and I guess since
and Independence
Independence
Day.
Day, yeah, and I guess I mean we did mention Dolomite, so I guess we should say Rudy Ray Moore. I guess he deserves a little bit of credit.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
shit, Idris Elba. I mean, shit. Let's.
Yeah, Stringer Bell was also. I mean,
Oh,
so good.
Luther. Holy shit! I
Luther?
started Luther.
Yeah.
Dude, Luther's
Yeah,
real good.
so good that people were like just clamoring for him to be James Bond. That's how much of an
Oh,
action
honestly,
star he is.
dude, just make
He
a
would be
movie. Yeah.
so great.
He would be. And he's an excellent actor, and he's suave. He has all the James Bond qualities.
Gotta
You
love
two, man, we were kind of talking about the MCU. This is outside of that realm, but it kind of what began it all. Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Hell
He,
yeah.
Uh,
my dad, he showed me Passenger 57. I'm not sure if you guys ever seen that movie, but
Yeah, I've seen
Dude,
it.
New Jack City,
but
dude.
New Jack City.
Yeah, Nino Brown. That's
Yeah,
what I love
dude.
seeing.
Yeah.
And Chris Rock was in that. There's a lot of big action stars, a lot of big stars in Hollywood has done a good job of producing a lot of black films lately. But if you're going to support black filmmakers and creators, you do have to support black indie films also, and there's a lot of good ones out there. Most recently, I mean, arguably it was the biggest one of all that year. Moonlight, released by
Moonlight.
A24.
I also would like to give a shout out to Fruitvale Station, starring Michael B. Jordan. That one's
Yeah, that's
that's a
tough one.
That's a tough one, but it's good. It's fucking good.
I go back further with the I mean, and they're two that they're really really close. But growing up, they were really fun and cool movies to me. But Juice was with Omar
I've
Epps
never
and
seen
Tupac.
Juice, man.
Man, Juice is. I mean, it's a straight up crime drama. There's not layers to it, or it's not nuanced, and the acting is it is what it is type of thing. I mean, it's just five street kids trying to do a heist, but I like it a lot. It also has the cool Eric B and Rakim song "No the Ledge" if you're into that kind of music, and then Belly with Nas, God's son as he likes to call himself. But
That's very presumptuous of himself.
Belly is also an awesome movie. It has a great soundtrack, but also a really good movie. And it also is another crime drama. But that one, I think it's at the time I don't remember too many people seeing it, but that one, I think that one it influenced a lot of the movies that you see today. I don't know if you guys remember that movie Dope that came out like 5 years ago.
Yeah, fucking love that. I just saw that recently, actually, and I showed it to my girlfriend because she's never seen it, and the story of the typical, like the stereotypical.
It's a coming of age story.
Yeah, fuck
It's
yeah,
a straight up coming of age story,
and it's great.
and it's so
so
cool
good
because
yeah.
it's so this is kind of going to sound like I'm contradicting myself, but it's your typical coming of age story, but it's unlike any other one that was done before, just because it's in a different setting, it's a different type of character. Really cool ending where he's taking the test for college, and it's like he's talking about the two different types of kids, and am I the kid who's in a punk band getting straight A's, or am I the kid living in the ghetto making his money illegally? You decide. Which is a really cool ending to that movie. That one, that's a really, and it's a comedy, and like that part, I say it's all serious and has a strong social message.
I think it's a great monologue that he has at the end, and I think it's a really good message that it sends out.
Have y'all ever seen Love and Basketball? Dude, Love and Basketball is a good movie, dude. Love and Basketball, and not only it's kind of, I would say, unique in a lot of levels because it's a female director, African American female director on top of African American cast, the whole bit. So Love and Basketball is actually a really good movie, especially if you were growing up in high school. Yes, Omar Epps.
Yes, it is.
Fuck yeah.
It's actually, I really fucking like love stories. Fuck it.
That's fine. I like Omar Epps, and I wish he was in more shit now.
I just watched him in a thing that was so bad that I didn't think it was worth mentioning. It's called Trick. It's like a Halloween setup movie starring Omar Epps.
Oh yeah.
No good.
Omar Epps has Omar Epps. He'll be in an occasional one here and there, but I think I prefer Mike Epps more than Omar. Get Out also kind of doing that. I think that was an independent film.
Yeah, it was. Get Out. Yeah, Jordan Peele obviously just kicking a lot of ass, except for us, but we'll give him a pass for that.
Yeah,
I thought you meant us.
Well, that too. Hey, they can't all be hits. Like, I mean, part of supporting and suggesting these movies is letting you guys know that you have to be a little discerning with your taste. Jordan Peele and Get Out is amazing, and if you haven't seen it, it seems like everybody has seen it. You absolutely have to see it. Us, on the other hand, is very missable. Like, just you can have someone tell you about. I think the ending is amazing. I think the last shot is super cool. Just have someone describe it to you. I won't ruin it on the podcast, but I am. Well, take it from Blake and I. Like, we know. We will tell you what you can't. We'll tell you what you should and should not watch. Jordan Peele, thumbs up. Us, thumbs down. Twilight Zone, in the middle.
I got bused to school into a poor white neighborhood. A neighborhood worse than the one I lived in. Everybody's scared of black people. Everybody's scared of Puerto Ricans. Yo, ain't nothing scarier than poor white people. Even white people are scared of poor white people. Hey, keep those white people away from us. Yo, they live under the trailer home, right? They weren't white trash, they're like white toxic waste.